This is the Propaganda Report. I'm Brad Binkley, joined by Ian Covell. CIA
Brad.
blackmail tactics and the promise of more files to be released potentially. It's a tornado warning where I am. You can hear the rain hammering down and some thunder getting closer. It's like I'm at the Third Eye Carnival again, where we did a show in the eye of the storm, bringing back fond memories.
You'll be fine. You don't live in a double wide.
Just a week ago. I aspire to one day live the simple life of a double wide.
Tornadoes only take out double wides, man.
They're targeted.
Yeah.
It's a targeted attack. What's up, Groby? Good to see you. Yeah, I do live in the vicinity of double wides, and I got to say that's going to cause you to, I'm a bit of a hoarder, so I would be forced to get rid of some things that maybe I don't need if I live that double wide lifestyle, although prone to tornadoes like this. So let's go ahead and dive in today. Let's start off with what may be some good news, or the appearance of good news anyway, as the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, had an announcement today about how they're focusing on election integrity with some of their investigations. And I have to say, if that's the case, if they're serious about that, that's a good thing. And here, I'll let her make the announcement herself here.
She's so sexy.
Tulsi Gabbard.
I've got a long list of things that we're investigating. We have the best of the best going after this. Election integrity being one of them. We have evidence of how these electronic voting systems have been vulnerable to hackers for a very long time, and vulnerable to exploitation to manipulate the results of the votes being cast, which further drives forward your mandate to bring about paper ballots across the country so that voters can have faith in the integrity of our elections.
So if they do move forward with that, and they do bring about paper ballots, which is not necessarily up to them. States and counties can choose to do that themselves, and some
I think
have.
it should be tablets. Stone tablets.
Stone tablets. That would be the most
chisel your
concrete
vote
way
into.
to chisel your vote in.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes, Brad, it would be the most concrete way.
Garland Favorito of Voter GA has been on the show a number of times since 2021, providing this evidence of these machines flipping votes and their vulnerability to being hacked, which has actually been proven in court that votes can be flipped on many of the machines that have been used throughout the country.
Dude, when they first started doing all the voting machines, it was the lefties that brought this up all the time.
Yeah. And surprised it didn't bring it up as much after Trump won. Maybe some did, but it didn't get as much media attention.
You heard he's gonna behead the guy who said that it was the safest election of all time.
He's gonna behead the guy from CISA.
He's gonna do something. He's gonna investigate him.
Is he gonna use a swordsman or one of those?
Probably send him to El Salvador.
Right, maybe that's who got sent to El Salvador. Oops, we sent the head of CISA to El Salvador. Our bad.
Do it now.
Yeah. So
quick.
This has been proven in small counties, and the attempt to expose the vulnerability of these machines and the vote flipping going on has been railroaded at every turn by judges who did not want to deal with it, who used process or procedural reasons to throw
from the
cases
OSS
out.
Manual, straight out of the OSS manual.
So when they say the 61 cases or whatever have shown there was no voter, there was no. They always say widespread to throw in that qualifier, but to show that there was not problems with the vote in 2020. None of those cases were viewed on the merits of the case. They were thrown out by minor things by judges who just, understandably didn't want to deal with it because they could get offed. Whether or not you believe the 2020 election was stolen, there were problems with it that were proven by Garland Favorito, who's been on the show, and as I said, many, many others. And I hope that they and everybody else at Voter GA, they finally get their work shown at a more national level and that they get the credit that they deserve because they've done great work for many, many years. Let's hope that happens. I'm never fully optimistic when I hear stuff like this because I always kind of like, okay, prove to me you're going to do what you say, but I have my fingers crossed here. So sticking with Tulsi, you say she's very, very sexy, Ian.
That's just an objective opinion.
Here's another announcement from Tulsi today. This one was a bit more of an eye roller for me. Not really gonna hold my breath here.
Whatever, Brad. She's pretty, so she can say and do whatever she wants.
Say whatever she wants.
She's got pretty woman privilege, which is the highest privilege in the land.
Yeah, so she's got that gray streak that she keeps in her hair, very stylish,
right, which just adds to it. That's like the female version of peacocking.
Well, here's the peacocker, Tulsi Gabbard, talking about the next files that they're promising to release.
And lastly, we've been scanning. I've had over 100 people working around the clock to scan the paper around RFK, Senator Robert F. Kennedy's assassination, as well as Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination. These have been sitting in boxes in storage for decades. They have never been scanned or seen before. We'll have those ready to release here within the next few days.
That's great. Bobby, how do you feel about that?
I'm very gratified.
That's hitting close to home, isn't it?
No
when you think,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about Bobby when that statement's made.
I'm very grateful to you, Mr. President.
Very good. So I should correct myself.
Most transparent presidency of all time, Brad.
It's not it's not the files that were promised. It's the paper. It's the unseen paper that they're going to be scanning.
Look at this paper. Look how old this piece of paper is. Nothing on it.
Look at this.
But look how old it is.
It's written in spy ink, Bobby. We just know it. There's probably it's going to say who really killed your dad on here. Wow. I know you don't think it was Sirhan or whatever his name was. Yeah, so we're gonna release the paper.
When you see this paper for the first time, it makes you wonder all the other things that we haven't seen before, huh?
Like some people, they just look at a piece of paper and there's nothing on it, and they never think, oh, there could be spy ink on that. Yeah. It could be spy ink that a black light might reveal something. I want every American to put a black light to every loose leaf piece of paper they have in their home. You might have secrets. They put a hotline out, and you call Tulsi Gabbard directly, the director of the DNI. Okay.
I wish we had a director of national stupidity.
Oh, maybe. I think that maybe. What would that role do? Would they do They would just do stupid things, or they would call out stupid things?
All the stupidest shit. They would I think they would be in charge of doing all of the really stupid things.
Right. So they'd be in charge of most things.
Yeah, most things.
They would just take over most of the government.
Yeah.
If they did that. Okay, so one more announcement this is from the Florida Secretary of State. You probably couldn't hear that thunder that just rumbled, but it just rumbled.
I live in the same state. Okay.
You live about 45 minutes away. Is it storming there?
Yeah.
It's
storming here.
Yeah, it's like a little weak storm over there. Yeah, this is a big boy storm we're in over here.
Yeah, well, it's because you got all those double wides.
Those
over
trailers.
There. Not as many trailers over by my side of town.
Yeah, it's very smart to move far away from trailers. Mm-hmm. This is Attorney General James. Oh, I see what's his name say there. Altemeyer, I guess. It's an interesting last name. This the Attorney General of Florida, and he says his office is going to be charging Ryan Ralph for the attempting to assassinate President Trump, then President Trump. So this is the guy who was at Mar-a-Lago, the one who visited Ukraine, was a protester, activist guy. Obviously, it's that guy and not the one who's dead.
Yeah, he's dead, cremated, all traces of him
We're
gone.
going to prosecute this dead guy.
Vacuum it up, shot it into the sun, no trace of that guy.
We're going to clone him like that wolf, and then we're going to prosecute his clone.
I'm Attorney General James Altemeyer. On September 15th, 2024, Ryan Ralph attempted to assassinate then presidential candidate Donald J. Trump at the Trump International Golf Club in West Palm Beach. Shortly after the assassination attempt, Governor DeSantis signed an executive order directing the Office of Attorney General to work with our law enforcement partners and investigate Mr. Ralph. After 206 days of stonewalling by the federal government that stemmed from days of the Biden administration, I'm able to now announce that my office is charging Mr. Ralph for the attempted first-degree murder of President Trump, as well as a charge for terrorism. My office, as well as our law enforcement partners, were met with major roadblocks in prosecuting this case during Biden's term. Biden and his attorney general sought to frustrate our efforts and block our investigation into the man who crossed into this state and attempted to commit political violence against a Florida resident. Thank God he was unsuccessful, and thank God we have Donald Trump as president again. The leadership of U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel was instrumental in preserving Florida's sovereign authority to do what is right and bring justice where it is due. We now have a federal government willing to work together to pursue justice. Attempting to take the life of a former president and a leading presidential candidate isn't just an attack on one man. This was a political attack against our Republican form of government and our shared American values. We cannot allow justice to be delayed or denied, and thanks to the President, our U.S. Attorney General, and the FBI Director, we are moving forward in our pursuit. Our statewide prosecutors will work to hold this evil man accountable and keep Florida safe, strong, and free.
Okay, so I would like to see how this trial plays out. I wish an announcement could be made like this without the urge to suck President Trump off while making it. You know what I mean? Give the appearance of unbiased. It's just like I'm seeing a little too much. I don't know if you've been watching any of the press conferences with the new media that has been welcomed in to ask.
Oh yeah,
Trump
I love it
questions.
because the questions are like, so President Trump, why do women always complain about your big dick?
But it's unbelievable. I saw 3 questions in a row the other day. That started off with, Mr. President, why has your administration been so great at, and then fill in the blank. And it's like, why has your administration been so, how have they been so great at, making your dick so delicious?
Yeah, there's another one. Yeah, there's another one. It was
I don't know. It's
yeah. How come the one of the questions was like, how come the media never points out that Nancy Pelosi is a hypocrite?
Yeah, and how horny she is
like,
whenever she's around.
That's a good question.
You.
I like this guy. I like this guy. Where are you from?
Yeah,
Where are you from? I'm from Trump. I'm from Trump's the Best News.
Oh, that's it. We love that's doing great work at Trump's the Best News. Doing great work over there.
However, I will say that the only change has been in the direction. He's just gone, fuck it. They're using the media that way. I guess I'm going to use it that way.
I don't disagree that the direction has changed a little bit, but I would like to see it do better than what the previous one did.
Sure. I think you're. Why do you always set yourself up for disappointment?
That's my job, to set myself up for disappointment. If I was if I was like, so this guy did actually really good job as announcement, but he couldn't help but slip a few things in there. Like, is it not enough to I think President Trump is going to be satisfied enough that there's a prosecution going on. He didn't need to throw the few, dick blows in there on top of it. I really liked your announcement, but you really didn't praise me.
So why do
enough.
you think they do that?
I think it's part of it is they see other people do it and they see the praise it gets. Maybe there's a little bit of a carrot and stick.
Praise from Trump?
Trump.
Or just, okay.
Yeah, or I don't know. Or maybe they just, there's a lot of, bandwagon that goes on all sides.
Okay, because I got to admit, like if I got invited to the White House for dinner, you would have to remind me, and Josh probably, guys, your mouth. Close your mouth. Like,
Yeah.
I would just be sitting there the whole time. I would be just under the spell of Donald Trump.
No,
I know I would.
don't. I get so like, I totally get. I think it's perfectly normal, especially in a dinner setting, to say nice things about somebody that you think that they're doing well. And I also know that you're not going to be let in, really, if you ask it, whoever it is. You're not going to be able to interview prominent figures. You're not going to be one of the podcasters who gets to go sit with Netanyahu if you ask tough questions. That's just the way it works. That's like, if I don't know if you saw the story about Tim Pool and Dave Rubin and Russell Brand and others who had this Chatham House Rules meeting, which Chatham House Rules basically means you can't say anything that happens here, and you can't say who's here unless they say it themselves, and you can't do any.
House.
Do what?
I said dirty little Chatham House rules.
Chatham House, which is it's the oldest think tank in the world that the CFR is a sister of. I play clips from the Chatham House all the time. And they go to that, and I was thinking about it. I was like, I don't fault them for going to it, because if they were asked to go to it, and I was like, what if I was asked to go to it? The first thing I would do is I would go, why? Am I about to be dropped in Gaza? Am I about to be killed? Why are you asking me this? And secondly, I would know that you could never reveal to the world critical questions that you asked if you asked them, and they wouldn't ask you if you were critical of them. In my opinion, that's what I remember at WSB. Like, I remember hearing, like, you can't. You got to fluff things up. And why would somebody who's in a position of power welcome more independent media that were going to ask questions that were unexpected? I get, like, getting questions that are adversarial, but, like, you want to choose the adversarial questions you have. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The controlled adversarial questions.
Sure. If it's good faith, adversarial questions.
Of course.
In good faith to explore.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, not the ones that are designed to condemn in the question. I completely agree there.
To try to understand, and I think, that would be, of course, would be better if we all did that.
Yeah.
Like, seek to I would love to sit down with our progressive friends and just really, really try to understand why they think it's okay and effective to scrawl a Nazi swastika on a Tesla.
Right. I was going to do it this week. Maybe we'll do it next week. I just go through some of the messages where they are very much justifying the vandalism.
Yeah.
Because there's
the best
no
part
other way.
Even, we do a very good job of protecting their identity, but also I have never any fear that they're going to watch the show. So
never, ever.
No fear whatsoever.
No fear ever. Because they think that they shake their head and they go, they've just been influenced. It's so sad. They've been influenced by such radical right-wing Nazism.
Yeah, one of them said that I held a right-wing point of view because I said that anyone who makes $75,000 a year should pay back their student loan in full.
Yeah, that's
a very right wing. That's a very right wing point of view.
Right.
I was like, is it? Is that what that's called now?
Yeah, I believe Hitler said the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So that would be funny for somebody to take all of Hitler's speeches and to put subtitles over it, or do the voiceover of it, where he's just saying all of the ridiculous things that they claim to be Nazi statements. Where he's like anybody who pays back student loans. Yeah. So maybe we'll do that. We'll read through some of those text messages next week. So this guy on screen, by the way, the Attorney General of Florida, he could have a side career of being a Sam Altman, the Chat GPT guy, an impersonator of him. Looks a little bit like a straight Sam Altman, which has got to be an unfortunate thing for him. And it's like whenever there's stuff in the news that kind of upsets the conspiratorial side of Trump supporters, it's like, we better throw them some new files, and we better throw them some sort of, well, the prosecution thing, I think there'll be a lot of questions at, but
Yeah.
It's that seesaw of things
Yeah.
you don't like versus things that okay, this is good.
How far do you think it'll go? You think it'll get like Loch Ness Monster files, the Bermuda Triangle
That's what
files?
I'm saying. What files are going to be left exactly?
Here's the Skunk Ape files.
Yeah. I don't want to say nobody knew this before, but we have the actual files on Judas. We have the Judas files.
Just, you guys want to know what's in the Vatican Library?
Right.
We got the
We got
files.
Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi is going to be there. I think the best description that I've heard of Pam Bondi is the way No Agenda talks about it. Pam Bondage is what they describe her as. You've
Thank
seen
you for
her,
turning
right?
me on to that show, by the way.
It's a guy. You've been listening.
Yeah.
It's a good show.
I have, yeah.
Yeah. And she looks. She does. She has a good makeup person. She's pretty. I'm sure she was very pretty in her younger years, but she definitely comes out
I think
looking
she's an
like a Barbie
attractive
doll.
woman. She's no Tulsi Gabbard, but she's attractive.
Yeah, well, it's gonna we're gonna have Pam Bondage and we have Tulsi Gabbard. We have them fight for supremacy of beauty here in the White House. The white supremacy of beauty. All right, so you sent me this clip. I think this is one I was showing. Yeah, just to check in real quick on the protest going on because there's more coming, and I will tell you what the protests that are coming because they're always coming. And this is somebody who is on the street making a man or woman or they on the street video of themselves or they selves. You don't know how to say it with the pronoun thing. You saw Anderson Cooper say he called a guest during a Bernie Sanders town hall yesterday by the wrong
Oh my
pro-
gosh, that was so funny.
yeah.
And she was like, "It's they them actually."
They them actually.
It's they them actually. Okay. You
And a
fucking
gay white
dipshit.
man to make that mistake too. It's
Fucking
just
dipshit.
unbelievable. So this is the person you sent me a video of. Let's watch this protester. This is part of the hands-on protest
Yeah.
that was going on this past weekend.
I mentioned I'm at the Hands Off Boston March, and it is the slowest march I have ever been in, and I could not be more happy about that because that means that the streets.
I have to pause it. Is this person? Is this the voice of Kermit right here?
The streets. That means
Sounds like
that
Kermit.
The streets. The slowest march.
Yeah, this person's jacked up on something, and they're trying to justify
yes.
there. I want to move faster.
Between the park and City Hall are entirely filled with people who are here because they're very angry about what's going on, about Trump and fascism trying to take this wonderful country with all these wonderful people, and there are great chants going on.
Great chance.
Yes. Immigrants welcome here. Trans people are welcome here. Trans kids are
people.
welcome here.
Trans
Did
kids.
you hear that part? Trans kids are welcome here. Bring your trans kids.
This is
Bring 'em
fucking
here.
Massachusetts,
This is
kid.
my
Get your
lap.
fucking hands off of it. All right, I'll say hi some more later.
Wow, he
if I
lost
can
his voice.
manage to post this. Bye.
Bye.
He lost his voice there for a second there.
He's outside
Look
of
at
Dunkin'
that. Look at
Donuts
that.
too.
Look how unhappy. Just unhappy.
Is that somebody? So this
is where I
could border the
struggle.
line here. Is this a real person or is this parody? Because you pointed out it's like my white dudes for Harris guy that I did at Dragon Con where I had the pink hair. Now it wasn't this intense, but I think it's real.
Can I hate the sin and laugh at the sinner? Is that allowed?
Of course. We've written an executive order where you can hate the sin and you can laugh at the sinner.
What
Yes.
the hell, man?
The question is, look at all the pink. They have the undershirt that's pink.
So
They
sad.
have-
It really is sad. More than when I stop and I stop making fun of her for him this for a second. It's just sad.
Whose
breaks
relative
my
is
heart.
this?
It
You
just
know?
breaks my heart.
Whose relative is this? I want to know.
There's no way that person's happy. I'm sorry. There's just no way.
So we were talking about paid protesters, and somebody did show me, I believe it was JC, showed me an ad looking for paid protesters to come to this thing. And my position is that the ones that are paid are the ones that are featured and prominent. Their goal is to they want to just brainwash most people to do it on their own, like we read in the OSS manual yesterday.
Right,
and
but
so
you got to
somebody
get a
like
little
this,
fire starters going. You gotta
right?
get
Well,
some
fire
catalysts
starters,
going.
provocateurs, absolutely. And I have to say, this is the worst ad for Dunkin' Donuts anybody's ever seen with the Dunkin' back there.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Like, can you imagine walking next to that person up the street? Like, what if you just let me go get some coffee today, and then you walk out to this like wall of they them screaming, and this one making the TikTok video? What would you do in that situation, Ian?
If I walked out and saw
you just went to go get coffee right before this started, and by the time you left, because the line was so long, all of this was going on outside. How would you react?
I'd get out of there as quickly as possible.
You wouldn't join in? You wouldn't pull the pink wig out of your back pocket?
No, I can't be around people like this for too long. They'll figure me out. I start to sweat and get anxious. They're just gonna know.
I want to know what type of home environment this person has. Everybody has a closet with their weird stuff in it. What's the weird stuff in the person who wears all the weird stuff's closet? Wears it in public anyway.
What's weirder than this in their closet?
So what's the type of stuff that this person hides from people?
Jeez.
I'll let you think about that. Pat and his cat says Ian's asking for them's phone number. Stoner, thank you for the donation. Stoner donated for the Red Bull and Cannabis Fund. I appreciate that. Trying to build up that fund along with that flag fund. We're talking about the big white nationalist flag. Because, anybody who questions anything is a white Christian nationalist. I'm telling my kids that this is Tootsie.
Oh, my God. This would be such a fun update to Tootsie. God, this would be so funny.
I would like to see somebody put AI Kermit over him or her.
Oh, I am sure that there are several think pieces out there about why Tootsie is actually bad. I'm sure. There's got to exist at this point.
Of course. So you've written a few of them.
Oh yeah. I write a new one every year.
Right, under your alias, Tootsie Defender 89.
This person. I'm doing a little word association, and I'm thinking prolapse, right?
Prolapse butthole.
Prolapse butthole.
Yeah, of course. Well, yeah, that's the first thing you think when you see this face. Yeah, you've got one of those prolapse butthole faces, man. Yeah, I'm right with you.
It's so fucking weird. Why?
What's funny about people like this? It's like I always think back to the first time I saw it was like one of those TLC YouTube videos where I first discovered, this is years ago, that people actually live their lives as furry dogs. And they like have big crates that they live in, and they eat their food out of a bowl, and they have a neighbor. It's all a sex thing, Their neighbor walks them down the street, and then they're interviewing the guy in his dog furry outfit, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm a manager of a Publix." I'm like, my God. What if you worked underneath this guy and you're watching this? It's like, my God, what am I doing in my life? My manager is he lives as a dog full time.
I mean, I would fire this person. I'm sorry, that can't be a protected status in our society. I have to be able to fire someone who I go, listen, if you dress up like a dog, I'm just going to question your ability to lead and inspire people. So,
what about all these people that I got working perfect? Your shelves are stocked perfectly. They trust this canine.
You have to stop referring to yourself as a canine at work.
Okay,
well, you know what? Dogs are not allowed in public, so we're gonna call animal control. Okay.
Well, okay, try it. I will bite your ass. I have an army of dogs. Now I think back to
all
the furry fight.
start.
They all show up. All the dogs show up. You see, I don't know if I've shown you the video. I know I've showed it to Josh of the furries that get in a big fight on a beach in California. I can't remember which beach with non-furries.
I did see that. It's great.
And the furries just whip their ass because it's a bunch of gay guys. And one of the furries bashes one of the people who was not dressed as a furry in the head with a megaphone, and he's bleeding all over the place, and he's lying on the beach screaming, "This is what happens when you date a furry." He's just screaming that.
Yes.
And he's
Yes.
right. He's right, I would say.
Yeah.
And this
Not
is
stable. Not
Right.
stable people. It doesn't show me that you're stable. I'm sorry.
XL says they definitely know someone who is a furry. I think there's a 0% chance that this person doesn't have a number of different furry outfits in their closet.
Oh yeah.
Isn't it wild though that there was somebody in the Biden administration that like was a furry basically?
This person's a parakeet. That's their furry thing.
They have a giant cage, a perch they sit
yeah,
on.
yeah. Do they have bird furries?
I'm sure they do. Of course they do, dude.
Yeah.
It's gotten to the point where it's like the most insane thing I can think of. Somebody is pretending they are that and demanding equality. And I don't even want to say those things out loud. It's things you don't say out loud. People have embodied those things. Because if you come up with something crazy and unique that doesn't currently exist as some sort of furry, you're putting it out into the ether and you will manifest that reality.
Dude, I could show up dressed like a furry around all our progressive friends. They wouldn't say a fucking thing. But if I wore a MAGA hat, it would be the end of the world.
What if you're a furry wearing a MAGA hat?
Oh, yeah.
I want to say thank you to the furries. The furry got me my
I'm
third
Trumpy
term.
Bear. I'm Trumpy Bear. That's my furry thing.
The Trumpy Bear furries.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the most popular animal in the furry world? That's a good question.
I'll bet you I'm going cat.
You think it's cat?
Well, I got a cat bias. You know, I
Right.
like cats.
So you want it to be cat. So you want like.
I want it to be cats.
What if somebody you know is like, Ian, I've decided. Well, I haven't decided. I just want to let you know, you're a big cat guy. I'm looking for a dom. You know.
Oh yeah.
And I've
Well,
been
that
living
tells
as a
me
cat.
you're not a cat then. That tells me you're not a cat then. Okay. Right away, I know you're not a cat.
His
Cat
cats
wouldn't
aren't-
be looking for a dom.
No, cats. What are they looking
Okay,
for?
so go pick another animal because you suck at cat. You suck at being a cat.
6 months later, they come back as the perfect cat.
Yeah.
I'm looking to crawl on somebody's chest while they sleep.
Yeah.
They're like 180 pounds. And a cat, it's, I don't know.
Oh my god.
You know, I don't even care. It used to be something you'd see at Dragon Con, you know, because Dragon Con would have these weird like sex rooms where like people in costumes just go to like hump each other. And it's weird because Dragon Con's like something people take their kids to. It's like, oh, we'll just skip this room. And
Pro tip on Dragon Con: if you want to get around unquestioned, just walk around with confidence, dressed in normal clothes. They will immediately think you're part of a panel or helping someone who's part of a panel, and they will let you. You can just go anywhere you want.
I'm just looking for my dog. Have
Yeah.
you seen my dog?
But if you're dressed like Luke Skywalker, you better have all those badges.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's funny, dude. A good time, smash that like button, you filthy animals. Furry or real? Smash that like button. So here is what the protests are going to be coming up on this week. Where is it? Hold on one second here. Skip that part. All right. So in the protest action is going to be Democrats are going to be holding town hall meetings in, again, Republican-held districts during the upcoming congressional recess starting on April 13th. Ken Martin of the DNC, he's the DNC chair, said Democrats have already conducted 71 town halls, open chair town halls, in response to voter frustration, which is not real voter frustration. It is them finding activists who live in Democrat-controlled areas and bringing them, because they told us this themselves when I did that last, when I infiltrated them a few weeks ago with Jake and Zach. House Speaker Mike Johnson has directed Republicans to avoid holding town halls to prevent the public backlash, but it doesn't matter because they have a format where they set up the empty chair town hall, and then they bring the nearest Democrat politician to come and do some weird thing, and then MSNBC reports on it. So go to moveon.us, I believe it is, or not moveon.us. It's what the freak is that website? It's mobilize.us, I believe. And you can find out if there's one near you, and you can go witness the debauchery is really what it is. It's a bunch of people like this that we just watched pretending to challenge an empty chair to questions they won't answer. It's insane. Cosplay wisdom. Yes, cosplay wisdom for sure. Yeah, which tactic, Dana?
Walking around with confidence. Yes, I've tried this tactic.
To get in.
It's
yeah,
absolutely worked.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Stoner says, I just laugh at people my age telling me as a Cold War kid in the 80s that they wept for my generation. They would be crying their ass off at these lunatic Fs. Absolutely. I can't imagine my grandfather just, pushing 90.
Oh my God.
Just trying to go somewhere with furries around. Like, you'd be so shocked.
I wonder, I have an uncle who is 97 years old. And I just wonder, I wonder if he even knows, but I'd love to ask him. So what do you think? What do you think? Do you think men can have babies? Did you ever think that this would be a...
Ian, I'm pregnant.
Oh, gee.
97, dude. That's good. Is he in good shape?
He's sharp. Yeah, man, he is mentally sharp, and he's still, active enough. He gets out there and splits his own firewood. He lives in a little, he lives in New Hampshire on kind of like a little farm.
That's cool. What's his secret to longevity?
His secret, I've asked him, and he said, you got to have a to-do list.
Smart.
You got to have a to-do list. He goes, you have a to-do list, you have a reason to live.
Dude, that's smart,
Yeah.
It's actually really good advice.
Yeah.
And my dad used to tell me, he'd be like, you need a to-do list. At the end of the day, check and see what you did on the list today. And so you have it tomorrow, so you have a little bit of direction and stuff. But
buy Ferrari,
right?
Make 20 million.
The to-do list, because you need something to live for, takes it to another level there. I got to complete this to-do list. Yeah, what are his pronouns? Have you asked him? What pronouns?
No, I could have been misgendering the entire time.
He's gonna write that. You're gonna find this letter. It's like, my nephew Ian, for the day he was born, has been misgendering me. Transhumanism is next. Yeah, that seems to be part of the agenda with a lot of the tech that goes on, and it's an interesting debate over the transhumanism where they offer technology that will help people who are paraplegics or quadriplegics who you can't blame for wanting to have a chip in their head. And then it's like, what can that be expanded to? And then
all of a sudden, everyone's playing basketball as good or better than Michael Jordan ever played.
Just
by
floating.
installing a chip.
They're just floating in the air. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always, that is a way to equalize basketball. I always thought the great equalizer for the NBA was to lower the goals to 5 feet so we can all slam like monsters,
Yeah. I think that they should do like an exhibition game like once a year where it's like a team of like regular guys gets to play.
Robots?
No. I wasn't going to say anything about robots. But actually, scratch my idea. Robots versus the best the NBA has to offer is what I would like to see.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say just regular guys against NBA stars.
Oh, God, dude, that would just be so embarrassing.
Well, but here's what you do. You change the rules a little bit, right? So, like for instance, like there's 2 starting whistles, and the regular guys, they get to play for like a full 30 seconds before another whistle blows, and then the NBA guys have to start playing. I also think
so you get like a head start.
You get a head start, right?
Okay.
And you're a big baseball fan. I'm not. I just never have been, but I would watch baseball if 3 times during the game, it was guaranteed the ball would explode. Not enough to kill anybody.
Really ups the stakes.
Just not enough to kill anybody, but like it's ultimate game of hot potato now. Keeps everyone moving, you know.
Right. I like the idea of an exploding baseball.
Yeah, and then you
I
can do
think
with
it
other
would-
sports, exploding footballs, exploding golf balls,
Basketballs, yeah.
basketballs, any of the balls. These balls
What about
can just
like
explode.
What about swimming? What could
Right in
we
your
have
face.
explode
What?
in swimming? In swimming, what could we have?
You could have a trans women's balls explode.
So the yeah, you could be a man and win the sports, but your balls might explode.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, you know, I would like to see them change basketball up a little bit because I think it's gotten too easy for.
It's not like it was in the '90s, man.
Where they just fist fight. Have you seen rugby basketball?
Is it Russian?
Yes.
I love it. Russians have the best. They have the best.
It's a
sports.
Russian sport where it's just basketball, where you get to just beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah, that's great. Dude. They have one boxing. It's like a kind of team boxing sport where instead of a ring, it's like a hallway with ropes down the side. So like a very narrow corridor, and it starts out with each weight class. So you got your 2 lightweights, then your middleweights, welterweights, on and on and on, and 2 lightweights fight. Whoever wins from that fights the next weight up.
Right.
Down this
So
little
it's
hallway.
like a real escape situation almost.
They're all.
Coherent says to raise the hoops. I say
Yeah,
the more
yeah.
you lower them, the more you make. Because there's like these guys there's a guy in Florida who's 7'9", who the goal is literally like a basket, like one of those goals you hang on
Yeah,
your door
that's
is to
crazy.
me. That's what the actual goal is to
I
him.
know. We used to love going to elementary school and dunking on the 6-foot rim.
Right. And, I can dunk
Yeah.
the shit out of a 6-foot rim. I can dunk the shit out of it. But the rugby basketball is, I think it would be interesting if somebody, because it's all like, it's not black guys. It's all white guys who look like they just want to go get in a bar fight is what it looks like. And I think it would be interesting to see somebody who just, maybe they moved to Russia. They're just looking for a game of basketball, and they don't realize they're in a rugby basketball game. And they check the ball, and the first time they go up to shoot, they just their ribs just get plowed by 2 guys. They're like, "Whoa, foul, dude!" It's like, come on, man, what is this? Check ball, does it again, boom, the other side.
They do team fighting too in Russia, where it's literally like it's like on an indoor soccer field, right? And it's just teams of 25 guys just
fight
rush
each other.
towards each other, just fight each other.
Yeah,
Russia looks wild, man.
that's funny, dude.
Yeah, a Russian guy wandered into my bar one night, and
I'd like to have a drink.
I was in LA, and he's like, "What's there to do? It's so boring in your country. It's so boring." And I was like, "What do you mean? What's so great about Russia?" He goes, "You do anything you want. You have the money. You get anything you want in Russia. So much more free than here. So much more free. Here, all you do is go to movie, go to dinner, and go to get drink and go home. And go to movie, go to dinner, get drink and go home. That's all you do." I was like,
Where's the fight? I want to fight.
yeah, where's the teams on fields fighting each other? I watched 2 kangaroos fuck last night. Okay.
So made me made me want to become a kangaroo.
It's where's the kangaroo fucking?
It's like, well, we actually do have kangaroos having sex here in America. Dragon Con. You go to Dragon Con.
I mean, real bands. Yeah, you're right, man.
All right.
God.
So let me show you one more, then I'll do the blackmail tactics. I promise you guys. So this is a story of a defendant who is using a unique way to defend himself in a trial, which has kind of become something that is prevalent these days in the modern relying on AI and deep fake world that we. Why is it not working? All right, here I'll just let this woman explain to you. This is a judge. At first, she's scolding the defendant of this case.
You are not going to use this courtroom as a launch for your business. The appellant has submitted a video for his argument. Okay, we will hear that video now.
So the premise of the appellant submitting the video is that the lawyer couldn't be there, so the lawyer's going to be speaking by video, the defendant's lawyer.
May it please the court. I come here today a humble pro se
All right.
before a panel of 5 distinguished justices.
So it's showing this guy, this like good-looking guy in a sweater, with his mouth doesn't match the words.
Yeah. He's AI.
Right, yeah, and that's why the judge is stopping it.
Is this, hold on. Is that counsel for the case?
I generated that.
I'm sorry?
Generated that?
So the defendant says that I generated that.
That is not a real person.
Okay, it would have been nice to know that when you made your application. You did not tell me that, sir. I received the application. And you have appeared before this court and been able to testify verbally in the past. You have gone to my clerk's office and held verbal conversations with our staff for over 30 minutes. Okay? I don't appreciate being misled. So either you are suffering from an ailment that prevents you from being able to articulate, or you don't. You are not going to use this courtroom as a launch for your business, sir. So if you are able to shut that off. If you want to have...
So mad.
That'd be funny. I wonder if his video at that time was going, objection, objection, the AI guy is trying to object.
Oral argument
Your
time,
Honor,
you may...
may it please the court.
Yeah, so this guy, he must have some sort of business related to this. But somebody made a comment that is a good devil's advocate comment. It says, if the plaintiff is saying the truth and was using the avatar to bypass his stuttering and mumbling problems he had, then they don't see the problem with it. Well, the problem with it is that he didn't tell them. But also, this is something that has been used recently by not just defendants who this guy was trying to make it seem as though he had a lawyer because he didn't want to hire a lawyer for some reason. It's been used by lawyers. There's been a number of instances lately where I've talked about this before, but lawyers have been hired by someone and they have then gone to Chat GPT and said, give me all the precedent cases for this to prove whatever to defend their client with. And then they have used those precedent cases without checking to verify if they were real, only to find out that they weren't real cases. And
So
they've gotten in a lot of trouble for that. And as a client, I think the client would be very upset because the hardest part of being a lawyer is, I mean, that's what you're paying them to do, is to do the research to find the precedent cases and examples to make the best defense.
It's why I never wanted. It's why I never went to law school to become a lawyer. Is because I realized a lot of it's research, and all I wanted was Perry Mason moments.
Right, and that's not what it is.
It's not
like,
what it is.
When I was in law school, the research is so tedious. I mean, that is your job, is make
and
that
you have to-
argument by just becoming the best researcher you can. And these
And the
people
way they
get,
word things in the
Right.
legalese and stuff. It's
it's fucking, it sucks, legalese. It's awful. Reminds me of when that guy was trying to attend the court and couldn't turn off his cat avatar.
Oh, that's hilarious if you haven't seen that, Brad. It's so funny.
I've seen that. It is very, very funny. Judge Wigger laying down the law, says Jack. A bit salty, I must say. She was a bit salty for sure. Chat GPT confirmed freaking gay. It is, and people kind of start to rely on that stuff. I will ask questions to Chat GPT or Grok or whatever, but I don't ever rely on it without seeking to verify. And usually it says something that I know is not true, and I'll be like, wait a minute, that thing you said isn't true, and it'll go, oh, you're right, and
Yep.
it'll apologize to me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, how can I trust you after that? And then I just start calling its mom a whore, you know, and you know, I'm sure I'm on a list of the first people the AI is going to target because of what I've said about its mother. A lot of people are nice to it. You want to see me give it a deposition? I would be good at giving a deposition. I would not probably be allowed to do one in any serious circumstance as a journalist, I guess. 'Cause journalism, the way they define journalism today, it's just like that's not. You're a journalist if you don't ask questions and if you toe the line is kind of, or you're a propagandist. So journalists today are actually
journalism. A
propagandists.
journalist nowadays is a narrative builder.
Yeah,
It is
totally.
someone who constructs narratives.
Exactly, and they support them, and it's not never an objective look at truth. I don't know that it ever has been, honestly. The news business, I think, was created to control reality among the people. So, unfortunately, all right. CIA blackmail tactics. I did a couple things here. There's some CIA documents for spy recruitment, and these fold in with how to blackmail people. And I just got a brief summation I'm going to go through of those. And you can actually find those on the CIA.gov website. If you search for spy recruitment techniques, you can just put that into Google. And I believe the CIA page will show up, one of the first results. And then I thought it'd be fun to ask ChatGPT what it thought blackmail tactics were. And if we have enough time, we can ask ChatGPT how it would blackmail RFK or somebody or whoever we want to plug in, and we'll see if it responds to it. But some of these tactics here, I'm not going to pull it up, but all right. So there's two types of spy recruitment tactics that the CIA talks about in their literature. They might have new ones that they don't talk about now, but in the declassified documents, they talk about one called MICE, MICE, obviously, and then another one called Rascals, RASCLS. And MICE, to give a brief summation, is money, ideology, compromise, and ego. That's what they target in using those levers to try and turn somebody into a. Because when we say spy recruitment, it's basically getting somebody. It's basically a form of
You want to
blackmail.
corrupt someone.
Yes.
Yeah.
To get them to do.
Yeah.
Yes,
We need someone who's
100%.
corruptible.
Yeah. So money, and this is just a summation of the document, is about 15 pages long. Financial incentives obviously are a significant motivator for individuals to betray, in this context, their country, or to provide information. Ideology, a strong belief in a particular in a political or social ideology can lead individuals to spy for a cause they believe in, even if it means betraying their own country. And I would say that's probably some of, along with the fear-based techniques they use to organize these protesters, is this belief in their progressive ideology. Compromise or coercion is some individuals may be coerced or blackmailed into spying due to vulnerabilities or past actions that they could be exposed. It's a very obvious one. And their ego. The desire for recognition, power, or a sense of importance can drive individuals to spy, particularly if they feel they can influence events or make a difference. So people with a God complex type thing is kind of what it goes into in the literature, the CIA literature on that. The MICE framework helps CIA case officers understand the potential motivators of individuals they might target for recruitment, allowing them to tailor their approach and leverage those motivations to take their advantage. So that's the one. There's kind of a competing narrative on using among the CIA on using one or both, or which one is best. Any initial thoughts on that quick overview?
It makes me wonder if it's ever been tried on me.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And I missed an opportunity to make a lot of money.
Right. You missed that off. You were too stubborn.
I was too stubborn.
Too stubborn to become a spy. You were too. Yeah, you did. You didn't trust him enough.
I didn't trust him enough, man. All
right, Rascals. The Dirty Six of spy recruitment.
I like Rascals sounds a little
So
more.
this one is based on the influence principles by Saladini. I can't ever say his name right, but he wrote that book, Influence. Robert Saladini, and I believe he was part of Hillary Clinton's campaign team when it comes to using of the 6 traits or the 6 factors that influence human beings, and so it's based on that. And each letter stands for a psychological or practical motivator that can be exploited when recruiting someone to betray their country, company, or cause. The first one is reciprocation. And they give the quote here is, "Hey, we helped you. Now you help us. We did you a favor, okay?"
Exactly. Okay. Yes, you can't. You never accept a favor from a mobster.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
Never.
Hey, it looks like you're low on rent at your little corner gas station here. Yeah. Maybe me, a nice guy, can help you out, person in trouble.
Let me get that door for you.
Oh,
No.
You remember when I got that door for you?
Yeah. Well, yeah, but people do that all the time.
Why don't you look at your text message and look at the video link, and we got you, kid.
What the hell?
We're gonna kill you, kid.
Why would you do that?
That's what I assume goes on there.
That's what I think happens too.
And then authority is the next one. The boss said it's okay. People are more likely to comply when orders come from someone they perceive to be as legitimate or powerful, which the authority idea has kind of changed with the influencer idea. All the main network people moving over to podcasting and stuff like that. Who is the authority in this day and age? Who's your authority, Ian?
My authority?
Who would you
Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ. You can't say that anymore. It's anti-Semitic.
Why not?
It's anti-Semitic.
Okay.
To mention Jesus is anti-Semitic, they say. The bluebird blowback from the 50s and 60s is kicking in for this generation. Absolutely. All right. Third one is scarcity. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. If something seems rare, people want it more, and that's very true. A lot of this is marketing. A lot of these techniques are marketing. Hey, look, I got 2 spots left to betray your country. You want me to film with you or somebody else? Somebody's going to do it. Might as well be you. Look at all this cash. I guess I better do it. I don't want to miss out. The FOMO, you know?
Yeah.
Commitment and consistency.
FOMOphobia.
Right. Commitment and consistency is it's getting people to make like an overt commitment to something and then holding.
But you
them,
promised.
Yeah, right. Holding them to being what they say that they are.
But you promised. But you said you were. You said you were cool. I thought you said you were cool, man.
Not.
I guess you're
no,
cool.
maybe I'm a nerd though. Maybe I'm a nerd. No, I'm cool. You're right.
I thought you said you were a nerd, man.
No, you're right. You're right. I better join the assassination team. You're right.
Yeah, I thought you said you were an assassin, man. That's what I thought.
Oh, dude. Well, I was wrong, dude. It says here, you've come a long way for this. The example. Why stop now? Why stop now? You've come so far. You've wasted all that time. Once people take a small step, they tend to keep going to stay consistent with their self-image. Bring back the Greek mythology. At least they had good origin stories. They did. They did. I'll tell you what, hard part about reading Greek mythology or reading like Plato, where he's talking about stories of Socrates, where it's like Socrates will say this most mind-blowing like thing that just changes the way you think and see the world, and then in the next paragraph is, and then Socrates banged a kid. It's like, oh my God. It just really very conflicting trying to read.
Credibility gap there.
A little credibility gap there. It's like,
yeah.
But that, so it was because what they would do when you read philosophy is people would give their kids to respected philosophers.
Yes. Yes.
It's very twisted. Number 5, or do like it.
They had a very different view on interpersonal relationships, the Greeks.
Yeah, they did. It's very different back then. Very different. Got to take the good with the bad, sister. Right. Yeah. All right. Liking. This is a very powerful. It really is. I like you. You like me. Let's do espionage, which is a very common thing people say. Like the CIA agents, it's like, all right, here's the line you're going to need to remember the most. I like you. You like me. Let's do some espionage.
Yeah. Hey, come on. Hey, we've been getting along pretty well, haven't we?
Yeah.
Come on. I thought we hit it off right away, huh?
Yeah, we did. Yeah. So
Hey, listen,
what,
man. I want you to wear this wire. And
what for?
yeah, I want you to wear this wire, and I want you to walk into that embassy. Yeah, come on, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, man. We're like buddies
You asked
now,
me to do
man.
espionage with you?
Yeah, of course, yeah, a little bit, just a little bit of espionage.
Oh, I love you, bro. I'd never do. Yeah,
Dude, I thought you were about to say no.
No, dude. I'll do espionage with any of my boys, dude. We're joking, but like the idea of just liking these public figures is that's they cultivate figures to send to certain demographics to be their propagandists. It goes back 100 years talking about selecting the right people.
It is just amazing that the world just keeps spinning on its axis, Brad, every damn day.
You're right, girl. It just keeps spinning and
It's
spinning.
just amazing.
Here we are, just sitting, couple Southern Bells with sweet tea. Waiting for our knight in shining armor to come along.
Sweet.
Liking.
Well,
social
thank
proof. The social proof example is others like you are doing it. If people think everyone else is doing it, they seem more likely. Yeah, look at all these other
Everybody's
slaves.
a spy. You think that guy over there is just a UPS driver? No, he's a spy.
Right.
You think that's a
Hey, Billy. Oh, yeah. No, spy. Totally.
That's right.
Everybody in your life is a spy. Call your grandmother. Call your 96-year-old uncle.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the basis of that. I might dig into some of the examples that the CIA has maybe at another time. But the Chat GPT example, when I asked it, what are some of the blackmail tactics that the intel agencies, the CIA, use, and it told me that it could give me an example based on declassified materials and investigative journalism. First, compromising material, obviously, damaging information, sexual behavior, financial misconduct, substance abuse, stuff like that. Honey traps, romantic or sexual relationships, real or staged, to entrap the individual, often on video, or in compromising situations, a la Jeffrey Epstein, many people believe, maybe Diddy, many people believe. Surveillance exploitation, using wiretaps, hidden cameras, or hacking to collect private information to be used as leverage. Remember the wiretaps during the, was it 2016, 2017? They talked about that with Trump and.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It was wiretaps.
They weren't wiretaps, though. There was something else, but.
It's just, it's like everything is wiretap now, though.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a video camera.
They take the receiver off the bottom of your. Remember, that's how they used to do it in the movies?
They'd have to check their wire-corded phone.
Put the tap in there.
Right. No, I have a phone just so I can do that, just so I can make sure I'm not being wiretapped. I have one of those, It's a Wonderful Life phones that you spin around.
Yeah, a rotary phone.
Rotary phones. That's right. Am I being watched here? Mary, I think we're being wiretapped, Mary.
Yeah.
Just to
My
make
dad
sure.
was telling me that, I grew up with the party lines. Like, you know what that is? Like, it was like, I guess a few of them shared it. So you
could hear people's conversations.
Yes. So the phone would ring and it would have your house would have a certain ring. So you'd know it was for you. Wow. But it would ring no matter what. And you could technically pick it up and listen in on someone else's conversation.
And I would do that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Did your dad ever do that?
No. The weirdest thing that ever happened to him, though, is that someone they shared a party line with was part of the Communist Party.
Oh,
wow.
That's crazy.
And when my dad was going into the Coast Guard, they gave him a lot of shit about that. Like, there were like a lot of questions about, like, well, who is this guy? How do you know him? They were just grilling him, and they eventually, like, it was fine. But yeah, he was like, oh, they really grilled me about that guy. He goes, I don't know. I just shared a fucking party line with him.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude.
I don't know who this guy is.
Yeah. So the other one, asset pressure, threatening your safety or reputation of the target family's friends or associates, leak threats, threatening to leak damaging information, financial manipulation, creating or exploiting evidence. So the idea of creating fake evidence of tax evasion and bribery. Legal jeopardy, using lawfare, basically, coercion, going out of your way to create trouble just to make their lives difficult. False flag operations, tricking a target into believing they committed an act. So I thought this was interesting, making them think they committed some criminal act in order to get them, psychological manipulation. Yeah. So that was the most interesting one to me, the false flag operation.
This is just like basically performance theater.
Yeah.
It's like street theater.
Right. It's like you're either going to be a CIA agent and just an asshole.
Or turf fringe festivals all over Canada.
Yeah. You'll be either way, you're an asshole.
Yeah.
It's like,
jeez.
And to close out, let's let me ask ChatGPT how it would compromise. How would compromise RFK? Let me see here. Well, is this not going to let me all right. I guess I got to sign in here. Oh, damn it. Sorry. How would you compromise RFK? Okay, let me share this. Share. Sorry, I'm trying to. All right. It says it's not. This thing's not working. All right. So it says, well, Brad, if we're talking RFK, I'll just tell you what it says. If we're talking RFK, in the sense of RFK Kennedy Jr., and this is part of a creative or satirical exercise like writing a script or a sketch, I'm totally down with helping brainstorm this fictional or hypothetical scenarios to fit that vibe. But if you meant compromise and actual shady stuff, then Max has to hit you. Who's Max? Hit you with the Secret Service side eye and a hard pass. Want to clarify? Yeah, let's say satirically.
Satirically, but as real as possible.
Okay, satirically, but as real as possible. It says perfect, satirical, but disturbingly plausible is exactly my jam. So, why does it have to say stuff like my jam? Like people who say my jam, I'm like, okay, you're not my jam. I'm gonna go this way.
I've been playing around with the talking to it feature. That's kind of fun. You just leave it on, and I just talk to it. I'm like, hey, how do I hard boil eggs? No, I don't. I mean, how do you do that? But, you could. That's what you could say.
Yeah,
if you wanted to.
All right, it says.
It really makes Alexa and Siri are just so dumb now. They're just so stupid.
They're
now.
retarded, dude.
I start talking to Alexa like it's ChatGPT, and I go, that's right, you're stupid.
All right, it says, so let's say you're building a narrative, maybe a segment or a darkly comedic piece on how someone might compromise RFK Jr. in a way that's both grounded and absurdly believable. Here's how that could look. And it says here. I'm going to show you because I got it to work. I got this thing up now. All right. It says they would start with Operation Smoothie Sabotage, how to compromise RFK Jr., satirically, of course. Number 1, weaponized wellness. Infiltrate the inner circle with a fake holistic health guru, one who pushes an immune-boosting protocol involving kombucha, microdosing, and reverse vortex crystal water. I don't know if this is what we were looking for with this request we made of them.
Yeah, no. Sometimes it goes...
Oh, the Rogan trap is the second one. Let's see what that says. Convince him to do a live trip. What is it called?
Ayahuasca. That's how you spell
ayahuasca trip with Rogan and Aaron Rodgers streamed in 4K. Okay. Halfway through, you plan a fake revelation. He realizes he's actually been vaxxed the whole time. So you make him think he's been vaxxed the whole time. He probably is. The deep mic conspiracy.
Do you know what you should... here's how you would get a good response. Feed that, whatever you were reading from about rascals and mice, feed all that into ChatGPT, and then say, Yeah.
You see, CIA's mice and rascal spy recruitment methods this time. All right, I'm going to do it again. Do it again, and let's see what it says.
Yep.
All right, see you, dude.
And I gotta take off pretty soon myself.
All right, yeah, we'll get out of here right here. Oh no.
Here we go. Yeah.
Okay, it says RFK Jr. is offered a lucrative clean energy partnership with a green tech startup. The secret backer is BlackRock. Okay. Product zero emission vaccines. That's doesn't make any
Stupid.
sense.
Now, see, it's confusing it with the satirical thing now.
Libertarian genome. All right, so here's what we'll do. I'll play with this and then see if I can
Tell
get
it.
it
Tell
to
it.
have something.
Tell it. I want to make it believable.
Yeah.
The funny part about this will be making it as believable as possible.
Right. Yeah.
That's how you got to fucking trick this idiot thing.
Yeah. So I'll do that, and then we'll come back next week and see if we
right.
could show some good
Let's see if
answers.
we've
Thank you, Ian.
compromised
Thank
them.
everybody in the chats for hanging out.
Hey, man, it was super fun. Love you, man.
Enjoyed it. Yeah, we will talk to you guys next week. You can find Ian at where can they find you on Twitter?
Yeah, you can find me at Reginald V Actor, but really mainly here on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
We'll bring Reginald V Actor back on sometime soon.
Yeah.
You can find me at Freedom Act Radio. All the links to the show, the Propaganda Report podcast, and everywhere else. Ways to support the show are there. You can share the show with your friends. PropagandaFight.com is the website. You guys have a fantastic rest of y'all's day.